Thank you. Thank you so much.
Shall we start? Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CSIRO Global Second Focus Webinar Series 2024 on the topic Biomedical Engineering, Emerging Prospects in India. We welcome all our participants for attending the webinar and wholeheartedly thank our speakers and panelists for accepting our invitation to join us. I am Rohit, a PhD student in the Engineering Mechanics program at Virginia Tech and an active volunteer of CSIRO Global Leadership Team. Today's webinar focuses on the emerging prospects of biomedical engineering in India. We will learn from leading experts from premier institutions about the topic, gain insight about career opportunities in India, and engage in meaningful discussion with panelists in the follow-up Q&A session. I'm accompanied by another CSIRO volunteer, Vaishali.
Thank you, Rohit. Hello, everyone. I'm Vaishali Agarwal, currently a postdoc associate in Department of Immunology, University of Pittsburgh. As many of you know, CSIRO is a volunteer-driven nonprofit organization that was founded by Professor Asim Ansari and WinStep Forward in 2015 with a mission to create awareness and aid in smooth transition of the Indian STEM diaspora back to India. Over the last few years, CSIRO has provided an amazing platform for promoting multi-level collaboration initiatives between individuals and agencies in India and abroad in facilitating the pursuit of STEM career in India through an annual events, recruitment drives, focused webinars, blogs, and newsletters, highlighting the diversity and different prospects in India. To know more about the past activities, we would like to share a short video about CSIRO and its initiatives. With no further delay, we would like to start today's webinar with a welcome address by Dr. Ansari.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be a part of this organization. I've just been amazed how it has evolved over time. As Rajiv was saying earlier today, none of this would have happened without the amazing volunteers who imagine what the event should be, what the needs are, and have constantly evolved this organization to meet the needs of both the people in the US and globally, actually, young up-and-coming scientists and engineers, as well as the needs of the country back home, what the needs are and how those are evolving and how might we bring those together. So it's just an amazing journey, almost 10 years now. We started in 2015 in a small room at the University of Wisconsin, where I used to be a professor, with one postdoc saying, you have the Khurana program. We had started the Khurana program for undergraduates and the BOSE program in 2013. He said, what do you have for people who finished the degrees? How do we go ahead and engage India? And so with Sriram, who's now at Azim Premji, a professor there, we started to imagine what we might do. And at the orientation at the consulate in Chicago, Indian consulate in Chicago, we launched. Vijay Raghavan, who was then the secretary of DBT, Shashi, Rajiv Sharma, etc. A lot of people came, and suddenly it was a real bona fide, certified event. A lot of Midwestern University students from Midwestern universities came in Purdue, Chicago, Northwestern, Urbana-Champaign, Minnesota, Michigan, etc. This was one of a kind event at the time because most of these events used to happen in either Boston or San Francisco. And from that humble beginning, if you will, major people, a lot of interest, organically this grew and became a volunteer organization. And so since then, I have been just honored to be a part of this. And I've seen how every year when we hosted this in the fall in person at the University of Chicago Indian Consulate, we started to evolve. We started to go into areas like astrophysics, biology, engineering, chemistry, etc. And wherever the needs emerged and whatever the policy changes were, or wherever the country was growing, that would be brought to the attention of a talent pool in the US. And through pandemic, the organization further evolved and engaged the globe. So now we have participants and volunteers from all parts of the world, and we are trying to connect back to India and take SciROI to India. And what SciROI really stands for is science and technology opportunities, research opportunities in India. That's what ROI is. It's also a play on the word of return on investment. What you're seeing now is the investment of the country in the young people that are here functioning as volunteers and eager to contribute their talents and energies to the development of the country. The other thing that SciROI does is it provides real-time feedback. Many people in India are designing policies, planning out their organizations, developing how they might want to look like 10 years from now, without a realization, perhaps, or as deep an understanding of what these young people, what opportunities they have, what you might have to do to bring them back to India and make sure that their careers blossom the way they would or develop the way they would in the US or in the rest of parts of the world. So this provides a valuable feedback back to the policymakers and institutional leaders like the one we have here amongst our speakers. And I have seen people make changes to their policies or their direction of their growth that has benefited institutions, more so at private institutions. And you just heard Rajiv say that they're starting a center for structural biology at SRM. There are other institutions that have grown from many of the volunteers who've decided to go back there and taken up new and interesting ideas. There is something at Amrita, I believe, where they have got someone doing click chemistry, another Nobel laureate, Barry Sharpless and Carolyn, who are good friends of ours, have sent their postdocs there to start entire centers in brand new chemistry. So this is the advantage of SROI as well, is that it provides valuable feedback to decision makers if they're up for that. And it's constantly evolving. The last piece of this is the volunteers. And I thank, of course, the speakers for bringing the expertise and knowledge and introducing us to what's happening in India today, keeping us afresh. But it's the volunteers. What's happening with the volunteers, they turn into leaders. Over a span of 3 years, they go from being volunteers to being members of the Leadership Council. They're making decisions, what events should be discussed, what topics should be highlighted, how people should be engaged, where the areas of growth and opportunity are. And they rotate off after 3 years. So first year they're learning, second year they're implementing, third year they're training, and then they step off to launch their own events. And we have a lot of people out in India now who have gone back and have started their own initiatives. So that's what SciROI is. I invite everybody who's listening and the speakers who are here to contribute and engage and help us grow as an organization. And I would like to thank the volunteers and the Leadership Council for constantly finding ways to engage and contribute and continue to grow in interesting ways. Thank you very much. It's been my honor to be associated with SciROI. Thank you, Vaishali.
Thank you, Dr. Ansari. Before we move forward to today's talk, I request the participants to maintain the following etiquettes for the webinar. Please keep yourself muted throughout the webinar. Please post your questions with your introduction in the Zoom chat. We will try to accommodate as many questions as possible in the Q&A session after the talk. Please keep your video on for better interaction. With this, we would like to introduce our speaker, Dr. Kaushik Chatterjee, who is a professor and chair of the Department of Bioengineering in Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. His research interests are biomaterials and tissue engineering. Dr. Chatterjee, please share your thoughts on the topic.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you're able to hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So thank you for the invitation to this platform. It's a pleasure to be here. And I also want to congratulate all the organizers who've been taking the effort to, bring together people and create the necessary awareness that's acutely required to make these programs successful in India. So I'll come straight to what, we are doing and what we are looking for as an institution, as a department. So just as a brief background about myself and how I am where I am. I am a materials engineer as from my bachelor's and master's training, and then my PhD is in bioengineering from Penn State. And then I did my postdoctoral training through a National Research Council fellowship between NIH and NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology in Gaithersburg. And the reason I'm telling you all this is when I decided to look for positions in India back in basically 2010, 2011, there weren't many bioengineering programs in the country, including IISc, which is already celebrating its 100 years, didn't actually have a bioengineering department. There were faculty members in various departments who were doing bioengineering, from mechanical, electrical to people more on the informatics side, computer science. But what I think was missing was a focused department. So given my background in materials and my interest in biomaterials research, I joined the institute in 2011 in the materials engineering department. But around the same time, something else was churning in the institute, which was to bring together people under a common umbrella of a dedicated bioengineering initiative. And a group of faculty members had already received sort of a multi-PI funding from DBT when Dr. Bhan was the DBT secretary back then. And that was sort of the nucleus of a dedicated bioengineering initiative on campus. And so in 2012, we started what was called the interdepartmental or interdisciplinary PhD program in bioengineering, which meant that faculty members in different departments, because of course there was no bioengineering department at that time, would come together and jointly float a PhD project, and we would start taking students and train them. So, I was one of the faculty members back then who took in the first student because, of course, that was an area of interest for my own research. And so that's where the journey started of a formal department or a formal initiative in bioengineering in IISc. And then, things slowly were growing. And finally, at some point, when we had more students, we had more sort of activities and of course facilities and so on, there was a realization on campus that we needed a dedicated center or a department. So in 2015 we got a freestanding, back then it was called the Center for Biosystem Science and Engineering. And after that, we've been recruiting faculty members, and eventually then it was renamed as the Department of Bioengineering last year. So now we have 6 core faculty who are basically recruited into the department, and then there are faculty members like me who have primary appointments in other departments, but heavily invested in bioengineering research, both in research, training, organizing events, developing infrastructure, all of that kind. And so that would, add up to another maybe, 12 or so faculty members. So, between what is called of course, the core or the primary faculty members and the associate faculty members, we're talking about 17 to 18 people. And then, but that really doesn't represent the full gamut of bioengineering that happens on campus. I would probably put a number of 50 as a number of faculty members on campus who do things that relate to bioengineering. You could be an electrical engineer who's looking at, some maybe bioimaging, sort of technology. You could be, in the data science department looking at, bioinformatics and other areas. Many of our biology colleagues are also utilizing bioengineering sort of techniques to, address some of their deep biology questions. So just to give you a flavor of the extent of bioengineering activity that happens across campus in various departments, but also a dedicated department, a relatively young department, but a growing department, which is the Department of Bioengineering. I'm currently the chair of the department, but we have a number of faculty members who are very active, very dynamic, and who've been working across a spectrum of technologies, starting from, of course, materials and mechanics to computational biology and biosensors, with applications in cancer, infectious diseases, immunology, and beyond. And so it's really quite wide spectrum of both technologies, engineering technologies, and the biological and biomedical applications that you would see here. I would qualify this by saying that you would find that at least currently the department and overall in the institute's activities, it would be more sort of biomedical in flavor. It would not necessarily be agriculture or biofuels or other things which in a broad sense could also be considered as bioengineering, but that's for various reasons have not been necessarily the strengths of our current activities. But having said that, if there are faculty members or potential faculty members who would like to explore these domains, the various departments on campus, who would be able to support such research programs in the institute. And as a department, we of course have the PhD program. We also have an MTech program, which was started 2 years ago. So in India, as you know, after BTech, you have a 2-year MTech program. We have basically students coming in from all branches of engineering who have cleared the GATE exam. And we do a short interview and then we select them. So these are GATE toppers typically because this is one of the most sought after bioengineering programs. We get very good students. The first batch is actually going to graduate in June this year. So you have 2 batches at the moment. We are interviewing for the next batch. It will start in August. We have about 15 to 20 per batch at the moment. The PhD program is probably about 50 students, and several have graduated as well, the early batches. Some of them have become faculty members. Others have gone into industry. A couple of them actively pursuing entrepreneurship. One of the former students also decided to get into into publishing, and so she's a development editor at the American Chemical Society Publishers. And so we've got and of course many of them have gone through postdoctoral training at the best of places, from the Wyss Institute in Harvard to you name it, and all kinds of universities from Boston to Singapore and anywhere in between. So our students are well trained in some of the top technologies and have been doing quite well. Of course, the program is growing. We are looking to increase the faculty strength. There is no, I would say, a defined area that we're looking at. That's traditionally not been the way IISc recruits. We always look for very bright people with exceptional track record because there's a lot of competition to get in. However, I would say from my experience that we look for candidates who would be would not only bring in strengths in their area, but add to what are the current strengths. If there is too much overlap, then that, of course, doesn't mean they're not a good candidate, but that means that they have to, they might be a better fit somewhere else. So these are the typical considerations. I can talk more about it later, but this is just to give you a flavor of our program and some of the ongoing activities here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee. for such an insightful discussion about the bioengineering platforms and the way the department has evolved since its inception early on in 2012. I think it is an amazing way the department is growing, and further, since there are new technology coming up, having a diverse background of faculty members, and also since it's open to exploring and having more faculty members in this division would be like really important to the people who are looking for more initiatives while transitioning back to India. Thank you so much. It was very insightful in having a detailed description of what the further avenues are for moving. I think people will be very interested in reaching out for the next steps in this direction. Thank you so much. Going forward, now we would like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Janakarajan Ramkumar, a professor and chair of Department of Mechanical Engineering and Design, Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, and also a coordinator of Image Engineering Lab, MedTech IIT Kanpur. His specialization includes micro and nano manufacturing and new product processes and their development. Dr. Ramkumar, it would be really great if you would like to share some thoughts on the topic, please.
Yeah, good morning to you all, and thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. I am stepping in for Professor Sandeep Verma for today. We at IIT Kanpur have a very strong bioscience and bioengineering department, which has been existing for the last 20 years. So it's a very successful program. I am here not to pitch about the bioscience and bioengineering program, but about a new initiative which IIT Kanpur has taken. An innovative and an ambitious project of IIT Kanpur is Gangwal School of Medical Science and Technology. You might wonder why IIT Kanpur, which is good technology institute, is interested to enter into medical field. But we will be focusing more towards technological intervention. Having a very strong track record and infrastructure in medical medtech innovation, we are trying to address the gap by establishing one of its kind medical school to bring a paradigm shift in approach towards medical research and medtech innovation in the country. We have a medtech facility which has an ISO 13485 certificate also, and that was established under the National Biopharma Mission, supported by DBT. So we have it, and we have been running it for the past 5 years. We have close to 14 patents which has been generated through the center, and we have did a technology transfer of 4. The school is expected, whatever Gangwal school is expected, training and nurturing a new generation medical professions for this country. We are trying to look forward for affordable devices and technologies for medical and healthcare needs of this country. So we are more and more getting focused towards low cost, high quality devices and medicines. We are more focused towards devices and technology. We have successful story during COVID developing masks, then ventilators. We are also closely working for inclusive society people. So we have developed several different kinds of wheelchairs which are getting customized for them. Develop engineering solution of unmet medical needs of the rural area of the country is another focus of the school, as well as the medical medtech center. We serve as a hub for generating knowledge economy that focuses on technology for healthcare needs. And we serve as a role model for other medical institutes to emulate. So that's what is a prime focus of our Gangwal school. So we have 3 verticals in Gangwal school. One is establishing a hospital. Our institute has started very aggressively, and we are going. We are trying to establish a 500-bedded hospital, out of which 50-bedded will be more focused towards cancer care, and a research center. So we are trying to give affordable treatment in the specialty of oncology, cardiology, cardiosurgery, endocrinology, neurology, and neurosurgery. These are some of the focus we have, and we are trying to cater to the need of 4 million people. So why I'm giving all these details are, we are looking at a huge catchment area, and Uttar Pradesh is one of the highly populated states in the country. So we are trying to cater to their needs in developing low cost effective medicines, wherein which we are trying to use latest technology of AI, ML, DL understanding of the disease, spread of the disease, and coming out with proper policy such that the government can be assisted in taking decisions. R&D Center of Excellence is also thought of part of Gangwal School. So here in which we are trying to cut across the disciplines such as science, engineering, humanities, and medicine, which will serve as a major hub for this medical tech innovation for the futuristic medicine. We are trying to take students and fellows working in each of the thematic area will be encouraged to use the incubation ecosystem, which is already well established in the institute. We are also trying to have or plan to have an academic program wherein which we are trying to run super specialty postgraduate medical programs like DM, MCH programs, and transdisciplinary research programs like MS and PhD in engineering design, engineering, science, medical interface area, etc. So predominantly Gangwal School looks for innovation, research, and entrepreneurship as a prime focus. So if anybody is interested, so here you have Science Institute, we have Technology Institute. We work very closely with science and technology. Entrepreneurship cell is very well established. We develop low-cost devices. From TRL 0 to TRL 5 has been a cakewalk for us. Now we have started working from TRL 6 to TRL 9. So that's where we are trying to have a new niche area. We have a close tie-up with KGMU, King George Medical University, which is there in Uttar Pradesh, and SGPGI at Lucknow. So these are the two big institutes, specialty institutes. The doctors, cardiologists, they are all part of our school. And we have started working with them in developing biomarkers and other small intervention devices. We are also interestedly started working of inclusive instruments for surgery. For example, people always assume that they are right-handers. There are also left-handers. So how do we customize the right-hand device to the left hand? And how do you facilitate the operation? So all these things are our prime focus. We have been developing devices. We'll be happy to interact with you more. But our prime focus was for today is Gangwal School. So I just presented about Gangwal School. Thank you very much. And I'll be happy to interact more during the session, interaction session, whatever it is. So the take-home message from IIT Kanpur is innovation platform is ready. Diseases are identified. We are looking for young, bright entrepreneurs who can use our ecosystem in developing and testing your ideas and work with us in developing our ideas. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramkumar, for such an insightful talk. I would like to have a question. Like, as you mentioned, like there are upcoming positions in the Gangwal School of Medical Science and Technology. Can you please enlighten us more about the number of those positions in each of those sections?
As of now, we have not confined ourselves with numbers. If there is an interest in biodata, a student or a scientist with enthusiasm, we have no dearth of positions. For example, if there are 5, we would like to take all 5. We are looking at the biodata, we are looking at the problem statement, and then we are trying to identify. So that's what it is. And since we are a growing school, we don't have any fixed numbers as of now.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ramkumar, for sharing your feedback about those positions and other developments of IIT Kanpur Medical School. Now we would like to introduce our next speaker, Dr. B.S. Satish Rao, a professor in the Department of Radiation Biology and Toxicology and the director of Manipal School of Life Sciences Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Manipal. His primary area of research is radiation biology and experimental oncology. Dr. Rao, please share your thoughts on the topic.
Thank you very much. Greetings to you all. I represent Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Manipal, which is housed in the southernmost region of India, Institute of Eminence. Basically, I'm also Director of Research. Therefore, we have three different streams, like health sciences, as well as technical sciences, engineering, as well as management, commerce, social sciences. But when coming to the bioengineering, I think we have excellent facilities with respect to the conduct of research. And the uniqueness of our university is that we have two medical colleges, as it is about, and hospitals, something like more than 2,500 bedded hospital in every specialty, starting from cancer, infectious diseases, cardiology, so on and so forth. And also at our arm stretch, we have Manipal Institute of Technology, where actually there are about 18 departments which are all working in different areas, and they have expertise in microfluidics, biomechanics, biomedical device development, and bioimaging, applied and computational mechanics, AI and ML, robotics, biomedical imaging, electronics and communication, computer science, bioinformatics, etc. So there is a wonderful, atmosphere for, working together for a collaboration, where actually the medical colleges, dental colleges, as well as the engineering college and basic sciences. So I represent basically from Manipal School of Life Sciences, where actually we have genome engineering program, bioinformatics departments, and tissue engineering. And these are the main areas of research one can think of, blending each other from medical field to engineering school, as well as basic life sciences. So usually we look for people who would like to relocate from abroad. We imbibe them through Ramalinga Swami Fellows or Ramanujam Fellows. We have a couple of, already we have a couple of researchers on board, and later on they will be absorbed into assistant professor. And also recently we have introduced research assistant professor position, where actually they will be totally engaged with the research activities related to their field. So besides this, these researchers, once they are appointed or recruited here at Manipal School of Life Sciences or MIT or in Kasturba Medical College or Dental College, they will be absorbed as a regular assistant professors. If they wish to have actually teaching, they can also opt for that. And also, if they wanted to take up only the research, they will be absorbed as research assistant professors. Now, they will be supported with doctoral students. We have about 500 doctoral fellowships, which is supported by Manipal Academy of Higher Education. So as far as manpower is concerned, the people we are going to imbibe, they will be supported with that. And also we would like to give some seed money to start up with. Now, if you look into the research atmosphere, we have two bioincubators, like one is Manipal Universal Technology Business Incubator, where actually there is the trust areas are IT, healthcare, as well as nanotechnology field, agri-tech, and all those things. So this gives a vibrant atmosphere for the researchers to, groom their ideas and then incubate, and later on it could be expanded into their own startups and all those things. So we also have Manipal, Karnataka government, Karnataka bioincubator. So similar type of the work is also is undertaken by all our researchers. And we have excellent infrastructure, innovation center, where actually a lot of engineering research activities, especially the biomedical research and these things are going on. So our departments like biomedical engineering departments, and then we have biotechnology. They have very good rapport with the clinicians, scientists at the Kasturba Medical College, and they have already started addressing a lot of research problems related to biomedical imaging, as well as using AI and machine learning, deep learning, etc., to address the clinical problems. So we are actually having a excellent uh, atmosphere for undertaking this cutting edge research. So this is in brief. So if anybody is interested in this areas, they can contact our HR department, or directly they can contact us. So as far as the openings are concerned, it is open across all the, throughout the year. So whenever we get good candidates, probably we will recruit them. So this is in brief about because basically I'm a life science scientist. Therefore, I will be able to give only this much information regarding the engineering aspects. And if you wish to see our researchers, people who are all working in biomedical engineering, probably you can look into our Pure portal, where actually you will be able to get to know about the researchers, their publications, and all those things. So we welcome if you all have any interest to come to on board of MAHE. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. I think it was a very detailed information about the people and the potential candidates who would like to look for more different avenues in MAHE. And I think the way the organization is spreading and establishing different areas are also of interest to the people we have on board right now with respect to biomedical sciences and engineering division. We would also like to just give some information to the audience as well. Dr. Neetu Singh has currently not joined, but we are still contacting her. There's some technical error, but as soon as we listen back from her, we will be happy to have her. But we still have a very esteemed panelist, Dr. Rajiv Janardhanan, the Dean of Research of Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai, who would be sharing his views. And his current research interests include restenosis, fibrosis, and diabetes, among many others. Dr. Janardhanan, may I please request to please share your thoughts on the topic?
Thank you, Dr. Vaishali, Thyroid platform, and Dr. Asim for the kind words. It's been amazing. I transitioned to this position in November 21 when SRM wanted to reshape and relaunch their entire vision of research for the medical and health sciences. And it has been a really fortuitous partnership with Thyroid since April 22. And you will see from my presentation, small humble thoughts, we have had very illustrious speakers ahead of me who were talking, how we have partnered with Thyroid, which has been instrumental in developing our group in the last 2.5 years. And so I am always in awe and honestly amazed with the kind of selfless volunteering, all the amazing volunteers, postdoc volunteers. I had the occasion of meeting a few of you during my brief sojourn last year at St. Jude's, where Dr. Asim provided a wonderful platform. I'm going to share a small presentation, unlike my peers, and we'll just try to integrate what exactly SRM is. And just, are you able to see my presentation? I will go for full screen mode. Please tell me if you are seeing my presentation.
Yes, we are able to see.
Fine. Good morning, everyone. And this is an overall view of the SRM campus, which is approximately 200 acres. And, we have got 9 colleges, 111 plus departments, 300 plus programs, 3,200 plus academics, academicians, 50,000 plus students, and we have campuses all over the country. One of the this is learn, leap, lead. This is the motto of SRM. So we want leaders to be created at SRM because, they are going to shape the future of healthcare and other areas by using the concepts of STEMs. These are the 6 domains which are there. Faculty of Engineering Technology is very strong. So is Faculty of Science and Humanities. I belong to the Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences, which has got 7 institutes. It's got a very strong medical college, which is number 20 in India currently, and we are aspiring to go higher up in the rank. Dental college, nursing college, College of Pharmacy, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, public health, and an 8th college, which is expected to come, is the College of Allied Sciences, which will have domains like clinical psychology, optometry, audiology, and other allied courses for which we are offering degrees at undergraduate and postgraduate and doctoral levels, followed by Faculty of Law, Faculty of Management, and Faculty of Agricultural Sciences. If you see this, except veterinary sciences, we are practically covering all the domains. These are some of our NIRF rankings and achievements, and you see we are also ranked very high in the QS Asia rankings, which were just recently released. As a university, we are 18th in the country, research is 39th, medical is 20, pharmacy is 15th, architecture is 14th, and all these ranks we hope will increase as we go ahead. These are some of the centers of excellence which have been established across the domains of SRM. And if you see prominently, the Division of Medical Research also exists as one of them. And they all work in combination with it. These are some of the facilities which are a part of the SRM DBT platform, which was established way back in 2014 to the service of the country. Practically every conceivable facility is there for any researcher who is engaging in the interdisciplinary field of biomedical sciences. We also encourage entrepreneurship, and we have a directorate of entrepreneurship and innovation. We have got success stories like Rizal, which has got 200 crore contract from the Department of Defense. And we have several other things. We have our own alumni who have created a bioprinter. They have been successfully incubated at IIT Mumbai and other places. And these are some of the facilities which have been supported by different actually platforms as we move towards the field of entrepreneurship. A research institute, DBT platform, e-mobility research, translational medicine, and I'll touch upon a few of them. It's an extremely lush and green campus outside in the outskirts of Chennai city, and self-sufficient. Please, I would be more than happy to welcome you if you plan to visit in near future. If you look at the number of incubation space is 12,000 square feet. We have got 255 pre-incubation projects, biodesign, 7,500 square feet, fabrication lab, which is open 24/7, and a seed money of 53.87 million from different agencies for developing student projects and ventures in the last 5 years. And we have 59 granted, 580 filed, and more importantly, 19 technology transfers. This is a snapshot of our Fab Lab, and then you see Rizal is the company which has already moved to being a full-fledged company, which was incubated by students and faculty at SRM. We recently got the Bioness project to initiate the entrepreneurial activities at a division of medical research, being the core institute by BIRAC. And so in the clinical space or in the biomedical space, entrepreneurship is the new thing which starts from the undergraduate, postgraduate, PhD scholars at any level. And this is being encouraged, and we anticipate about 50 to 60 companies to be incubated in the next 5 years. This is a center for clinical trials and research, which was the only center in Tamil Nadu, which was a part of the phase 1, phase 2 Covaxin clinical trials, which is now approved by WHO. Now it has been upgraded as SRM ICMR Center for Advanced Research for Phase 1 clinical trials, which is one of the 4 which has been established and accredited by ICMR. This is very important because the other 3 centers are KEM College Mumbai, ACTREC, and PGIMR. So we are the only private institute, and it has got its own fantastic laboratory facilities and ICU and specialties from different domains which are required by ICMR to be able to start lots of BAB studies, which are being started for Parkinson's disease with King's College London. We also have ongoing partnerships with Mayo Clinic, where they are willing to start a national consortium with about 7 of the AIIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences across the country, to start a liver, hepatobiliary, pancreato cancer consortium. And we would be more than happy to engage with some of the people who are touching upon various kinds of research in any of these fields. We also have ongoing collaboration with Molecular Diagnostic Center, which is state-of-art biosafety level 3. This was established in a record 2.5 months during the peak of first wave of COVID, at the behest of Government of Tamil Nadu's request that we need to have a referral center, because Medical College Hospital was one of the major centers in the Changalpettu Kanjipuram district during the phase one of COVID in 2020. And we are already in collaboration with WHO on 2 study projects. This is something, when we talk about research with social impact. About 2 years ago, we launched the Autism Center for Excellence to provide essential rehabilitation services to children who are born, who may be born with autistic spectrum disorders, autism, and various kinds of inborn errors of disease. And the services which are provided at SRM Autism Center for Excellence are free of cost, because we believe in serving the cause of the community of more than 3.5 lakh people. In addition to that, since we are next to the very populated GST highway, which goes from Chennai to Pondicherry, we often end up getting lots of cases of accidents. So one of the most important centers which has been established in the dental school is the Center for Excellence for Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery. And they have repository of more than 300 plus trauma cases, which have been operated under general anesthesia, and also correction of hard tissue and soft tissue injuries. We also have a neurootology and vestibular laboratory, from cases of postural deformities to weight shift to visual vertical to craniocorpography and video stegmography, and so on and so forth. Apart from vestibular, visual acuity are some of the specialties which are treated here. This is a gist of the rankings in different kinds of domains over the past 5-6 years, and we have been steadily performing well in all of them. This is a brief about the Division of Medical Research, and I'm happy to inform you that all these people were hired through CSIRO. So that's the reason I hope it brings a smile to Dr. Asim's face, that he has contributed immensely towards the development of our Division of Medical Research. We have already shared our priority areas for recruitment in the upcoming drive, and each and every one of them is engaged in multiple projects which are associated not only with basic sciences, translational sciences, and more importantly, supporting the community endeavors through research with social impact. Dr. Murali, who transitioned to our group, has been last year has been awarded the prestigious Ramalinga Swami Fellowship, Re-Entry Fellowship. These are some of the facilities which have been already developed, and we have recently been given an upgrade for an entire floor, a 6th floor, which is a square feet space of 25,000 square feet, which will be ready to for all the researchers by the middle of next year. And it will have state-of-art facilities, including fax facilities. Confocal has been already acquired, protein purification systems with 2 cold rooms, zebrafish facility in coordination with Mayo Clinic. And these are some of our partners, as you see, at international level. some of our national partners. This is something which one of my predecessors from Kanpur had suggested, that interdisciplinary sciences and more importantly research with social impact, which is in sync with the UN Charter of Sustainable Development Goals. We do technologies which are definitely under SDG 3, like multimodal platform for early detection of cervical and breast cancers, two of the most invasive and mortality causing cancers among the women across the country, early prediction of gestational diabetes, and also the anomalies at pediatric level. Menstrual hygiene prototype with IoT sensors. This is a huge challenge which every girl, when they attain menarche, face in our country, and there are 366 million menstruators as we talk, and the plastic which is enmeshed in the tampons and the single-use menstrual pads alone account for a single woman accounts for about 125 kilograms to 130 kilograms of non-biodegradable plastic waste with a shelf life of 500 years. So you can imagine why these Loon cups or IoT-based menstrual hygiene prototype IoT sensors are so important. Multimodal conventional approach for rapid and accurate detection of cardiovascular health to fundus images. This is absolutely a new initiative which we have launched with Shankara Nethralaya, as well as the assessment of and management of heart failure with Apollo and some of the aims across the country in different. Why I use the word across the country is India is a country blessed with 5 distinct type of epidemiological centers of origin, with Northeast or Meso-Mongolese genetics in Northeast totally different from others. There's our socio-cultural norms, our lifestyle choices, our mutations, our genetic variations are so different that none of the countries, every drug, every kind of intervention needs to be customized to the needs of the people. So it has to, that's why we are talking about large scale things instead of just restricting it to a specific region. And this is the order of the day. And of course, we are trying to work to develop a sensor, nano-based sensor for screening early stage chronic kidney diseases. These are some of the things which we have been doing at community level. One of the endeavors which I took in my previous position was looking using AI-enabled metrics to detect what could be a disease driver at community level. So we scanned about in a single day 500 patients, subjects, apparently normal subjects for cardiovascular diseases. And we found obesity to be a disease driver. And obesity in India is not restricted to only the rich. It has become the disease of the poor. And in that population, we found every 1 in 2 individuals were overweight or obese. We have a special category of lean fat Indian who may have a BMI of about 26 or 28, simulating exactly the same features of a regular Caucasian or African American who may have a BMI of 35 or 40 and above. And these are some of the multimodal sensor technologies for early detection of cervical cancer. In India, the reach of the doctors is very limited. But surprisingly, the reach of mobile applications like smartphones is 95%. So we are trying to dump our technologies in such a way that the primary healthcare, semi-literate primary healthcare workers who are the front end of the healthcare workforce across the country in 797 districts and above are able to use these mobile health platforms to seamlessly triage the patients in the order of disease severity and immediately transfer them to the tertiary healthcare so as to get a positive prognosis for the patients. Again, this is the oncometer. This is for gestational diabetes. This is for cardiovascular diseases where we use ECGs, echoes, molecular markers, and so other paradigms, including cardiac MRIs for superimposing on static. One of the things which we have found is that when we use static platforms for giving precision-oriented decision-making for the clinicians, it actually occupies less amount of carbon footprint usage compared to the CNNs and other deep learning algorithms. When we are crunching large amount of data to the tune of for a population which is more than 1.3 billion and counting. This is the order of the day. Okay, this is something which we are just starting. Whether fundus images with Shankar Netralia could be prospected for detecting coronary arterial stiffening. These are some of the strategies which we are using. This is also to develop a digitized, what is it called, interface, or what do you call it, which will give, based on the evidences, now casting as well as forecasting strategies to develop niche specific biomonitoring as well as identification of the hotspots. And that will give different stakeholders of the healthcare ecosystems, like the administrators, to help in automated clinical allocation of diseases, to the pharmaceutical people to bulk up the drugs which are required for an emergent epidemic, to the healthcare professionals to ramp up their staff for an upcoming epidemic. These are our short-term goals. We can discuss more during the break after, or the interactive discussion which follows this. Some of the long discussion, like my other colleagues who have said earlier, we recruit throughout the year, but our major drives are through CSIROI, and we'll be eternally grateful. Please come through them, and SRM will be more than happy to be connected with you. We are nurturing already 8 or 9 of your CSIROI faculty, and we'll be more than happy to nurture more depending on the areas of support. This is the ecosystem which SRM has founded. We have Alumni Connect, Workspace, PCB fabrication, fabrication facilities, seed funding, co-working space, legal assistant for your IPR and other issues, design branding. I think one of my illustrious colleagues in this call talked about School of Design Thinking. Design thinking is the way of thinking. We have a strong engineering group and an architecture group, and we are definitely looking for specific design implemented solutions. Patent registration, industry advisors, rapid prototyping. We have an active collaboration with Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone to facilitate the prototype, which has moved to 6 to 9 to be facilitated for large scale implementation, scaling up and implementation, high speed internet facilities through the high throughput computer cluster systems, cloud credits, technical mentorship. Thank you so much for your patience and listening to this lecture. We believe together we can conquer challenges to positive outcomes in delivering affordable and accessible healthcare interventions to the marginalized populations, that is 70% of the Indians who live in rural milieus and do not have access to the affordable and accessible healthcare. Thank you so much, everyone, for your kind patience. More than happy to take questions. And I will stop sharing my presentation and hand over the proceedings to Vaishali and Rohit for further deliberations and interactions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Janardhanan. I think this was really insightful about the initiatives which are ongoing in India. And I think broadly from all the 4 speakers, we have had very insightful information about different domains and additional domains in which the people can actually look for when they're looking for transitioning back to India. I would like to thank everyone, Dr. Chatterjee, Dr. Ramkumar, Dr. Rao, and Dr. Janardhanan for sharing their thoughts about the emerging prospects of biomedical engineering and new faculty positions which are available when they plan to transition back in India. And with this, we would like to start our question and answer session. I would like to remind again of some of the Zoom etiquettes which we would like to follow. Please keep yourself muted throughout the webinar. Please keep yourself muted throughout the webinar, and please post your questions with your introduction in the Zoom chat. We will try to accommodate as many questions as possible in the Q&A session. And next, please keep your video on before the interaction and while you are trying to ask the question. I think it will be good to have the videos on so we can have a better discussion during the panel discussion session. Now, I would like to hand it over to Rohit to initiate the panel discussion session.
Thank you, Vaishali. Before we proceed, it's time for a poll. Are you all ready? Okay, So our first question is, how many of you are already subscribers of Sai Roy YouTube channel? Okay, I don't know how to see the results here. Okay, our second question is, what is your education background? Oh, okay, here are the results of the um, first question. So seems like 62% of the participants here are not subscribers. So we encourage you all, those who haven't subscribed yet, to subscribe the YouTube channel so that you can get update about our upcoming seminars, podcasts, and blogs and more. Now, I would like to ask the second question. What is your education background? Oh, great. So 42% of the participants here are from engineering, 13% are from chemistry, and 45% are from biology. Okay, that's a great set of the diverse backgrounds here who are attending this webinar. Okay, so we would like to go ahead with our Q&A session. And I think we already got some questions from participants in the Zoom chat. So Vaishali, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, please. So I would like to first take the question from Nilotpal. Please excuse if I'm pronouncing the names wrong here. I'm trying my best. So the question is for Dr. Kaushik Chatterjee from IISc Bangalore. And the question is, for the new faculty recruits, could you please elaborate on the track record? For example, the number of publications or the grant projects during PhD or post-PhD, academic record, which includes the GPA internships during the PhD. And it is also has a related question that what are the odds for the fresh PhD graduates to get a faculty position at your institute? So probably there are like a lot of sub questions, but in case there is something we missed, we can then get back to it.
Sure. If you want a one phrase answer, the answer is it depends. And I think all my faculty colleagues, and many of them are very senior people here, deans and others, will tell you there is no magical number, and it's a very complex sort of a process, in the sense that what you're really looking for are two things. One is, of course, a track record of, some measure of output. It could be publications. Sometimes, it's not sometimes. It's never about the numbers. It's always about the quality. But when we talk about quality again, let's not get carried away with metrics. I think we realize that depending on the field, the kind of work you do, you could be publishing in the so-called high impact factor journals versus, maybe your paper is not necessarily in a very fancy journal, but it's in a very reputed journal of your field, and it's, greatly admired by your peers. So it becomes a very complex sort of a assessment. And of course, there is subjectivity in it. Having said that, I think generally what we look for are people who are working in, sort of emerging areas, or even if it's conventional areas, they are working on, some new, I would say, approaches in the field, bringing in a new perspective. We look for output in terms of high quality publications. Of course, a reasonable number, but again, that word reasonable can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. And I would say your skill set matters, because For example, I mean, are you, even if you say something like computational bioengineering, the question is, what kind of, are you using some new approaches versus, are these already well established? So so that matters. And finally, I think where there is again something which is difficult to quantify would be signs of some assessment of your leadership skills, that how, if you did get a position in the institute, where, do you see yourself in terms of, taking your background forward as an independent investigator and develop a very strong research program. And so all of these things are judged. And very importantly, we get letters of recommendation from candidates who on first sort of interaction seem to be very promising. And finally, there is an external committee, which is called the selection committee. So initially, all these discussions happen at the department level. The best of the candidates are recommended to the central office. The director sets up a selection committee where there are experts in that area from other institutions who are invited. They also, of course, assess the candidate, their track records, their responses to discussions, and that finally all of that culminates into the selection. As far as that question about fresh graduates, again, there is no bar on taking in fresh candidates or fresh graduates, but science has become very specialized and highly competitive. So in a field like this, I think if you have an exceptional candidate who really, even as a fresh PhD, can show these measures that I talked about in terms of output and leadership, sure, we'll be open to that. Having said that, generally people come with some level of postdoctoral experience. It also varies anywhere between 1.5 years all the way to several years of postdoctoral fellowship and training. And that probably helps them mature as a scientist, that they're well equipped then to take up challenging problems that will, lead them to flourish in our system. So that's typically why, we do expect some training and experience beyond your PhD. But if you go by the basic requirements, a PhD is what is essential. I hope that answers most of these queries.
Yes, I think this was like very great details about how the things work and what is needed. Since it is very context dependent, I think the insights were really great. I may just extend this question to the other panelists as well, since we have a very good representation with respect to different institutes. So if Dr. Ramkumar, Dr. Rao, and Dr. Janardhanan would also like to provide some insights on the same.
Yeah, I agree with Professor Kaushik, that we look for quality, we look for biodata. It's case by case discussion happens. We are in a very nascent stage. We are open for experienced candidates in the first go. Of course, we are also looking forward for REO, PREO, that is Research Establishment Officer, Principal Research Establishment Officer. Here we might think of even taking a freshman. But we look for quality because we are starting a big dream project. So we look for quality. And numbers does not matter for us. We look for quality. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramkumar. It will be great if Dr. Janardhanan and Dr. Rao also has some information regarding the same, or else we can then move on to the next question.
I think I echo with what Dr. Ramkumar and Dr. Chatterjee have talked about. Quality matters. It sets the ground for engaging people, because my division, there are multiple responsibilities. You will be mentoring UG and PG students, that is MBBS and MD students, so as to foster the research culture. That's one of your woven duties. Second thing, you will be, the clinical fraternity often has very good engaging ideas, but they do not know the process of how to go about it in a scientific way, whether to take it into a product from the entrepreneurship perspective or a prototype or any ways. Your excellence in multiple disciplines leading to good publications, leading to good, from industry-based design thinking endeavors. Those would be really appreciated and make you more. The simple thing which we, like most of my predecessors have talked about, is team worker, leader, innovator, and everything packaged. As far as the experience is concerned, numbers never matter where quality is there. There are several times we have taken up candidates who were there only for the re-entry fellowships to regular faculty positions and push other people who had applied for regular faculty positions to re-entry positions because we felt they were more suited. Their scientific tour based on a lot of their interviews with us, stage by stage interviews with us, we felt that they were more suited. So I think the most important thing is quality, their biography. Some cases, in the PhD cases itself, they would have done an excellent piece of work. We'll be more than happy to consider them as, say, NPDF, encourage them with grants, seed grants money, so that they develop into good postdoctoral and eventually faculty candidates. That would be my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Janardhanan, for your insight. Now, we would like to have a question from our volunteers. The question is, as your institutes are not only research institutes, but teaching institutes as well, what kind of educational qualification your institute is looking for in a potential faculty candidate in biomedical engineering? So this question is open to all, like anybody can reply.
Do you want me to go first? Because I work for a medical school, and definitely, see, if you look into our core areas and if you look into Division of Medical Research, we have already identified and we have already hired a computational biologist from NIH, and he's expected to join actually in the less than 10 days, transition back to India. So, biomedical engineers who can help in designing prototypes, scaling up prototypes, and work with Andhra Pradesh medtech zones are more than welcome, because this is the space where we need to go and entrepreneurial way, and we have a bionist and so on. And in addition to that, we have got other entrepreneurial ventures and exceedingly successful and well-established domain faculty of engineering and technology. So the idea is one person with multiple number of avenues, with multiple number of people, if they can collaborate, something new which is affordable and accessible can definitely be established. Your output as a biomedical engineer, how it can help in both, say, the schools initiatives at local, regional, and national level would be of more importance. That is something, so that you are effortlessly able to collaborate with different stakeholders and engage them productively for different kind of initiatives and projects with translational and community-based endeavors is most important. The qualifications do not matter. How you fit into the scheme of things is what most important is. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Janardhanan. Anybody else who would like to share their thoughts on this question?
Yeah, see, as we already told you, we look for only quality. So we look for quality. We also encourage for funding. And since it's a new school which is getting established, we also would like to pump on a quality CV. And we also have BioNest and other programs. Interestingly, we also have a design department which has newly started and which has a vertical of bio-inspired design. So we are growing, and we would look for quality. And if there is a quality CV, we don't mind pouring money on them in developing their program as well as ours. We look for organic growth, by the way.
Thank you, Dr. Ramkumar, for sharing your thoughts. Just a follow-up question, like how a quality is judged? Like, is there any certain like metric of like numbers or like the journal quality? How do you do that?
Yeah, it's not a single entity where we judge the quality. There are multiple variables. Maybe the area we look into, the training what he or she has, then the publication, what is his or her capability in writing big graphs, and how realistically they present themselves in the statement of purpose. And then we are, whatever said and done, we are a primarily an undergraduate and postgraduate teaching school. We look for teaching capability also.
I see. Thank you so much, Dr. Ramkumar, for sharing your thoughts. Would like to have other persons like thought on this same question.
Yeah, so okay, so I can just share my 2 cents on this, quality and of course, importantly, teaching. So just as Professor Ramkumar said, we are also a teaching institution. I mean, of course, IISc is always associated with research, but don't forget, we have a major teaching frontier in terms of, our MTech and PhD students and a growing population of undergrads, including, new BTech programs that are starting on campus. Not yet in bioengineering, but my personal opinion is, these things will increasingly grow. And perhaps, at some point, bioengineering or other interdisciplinary areas will also see BTech programs in IISc. But that bit aside, I think, and at the moment, we have a Bachelor of Science program, a 4-year Bachelor of Science with an optional 5th year. There, they have they have 6 options in terms of majors, which is physics, chemistry, maths, biology, material science, and environmental science. But as a department, we also offer a minor in bioengineering. So we do have some undergraduate students who will come to some of our classes. But they are they sit along with our masters and PhD students in some of the fundamental courses. We do, of course, now have a robust MTech program, which requires a lot of teaching. And so the ability to teach is important. There again, there are 2 ways to assess primarily. One is, of course, based on, your letter of references and so on from your mentors. But I think also what often happens is that we see how the candidate talks or presents their work when they are at the institute or giving their seminar. So how you explain, you might be an expert in your field, but you have to remember when you're talking even to the faculty members and students in the department, explaining your work, if you're not able to connect to the audience, that's probably a sign that your teaching skills aren't that great. Now, it's of course all subjective assessment, but what I'm trying to tell you is when as part of the recruitment process, when people apply, we invite select candidates or shortlisted candidates to come and visit us. They spend a day to 2 days on campus, and part of the the process there is to have to give a seminar, and it's a good 45-minute, 1-hour slot to explain your work in great detail. There'll be interactions, there'll be question and answers like a typical seminar. And there again, a lot of this assessment happens that people are trying to understand, well, is this person going to be able to engage with students if they were going to teach in a class. And also in a field like bioengineering, it's gets trickier because now you've got students coming from various backgrounds within the program. So an MTech program has students from civil engineering, computer science, BTech biotechnology, to all other fields of engineering, computer science, data science, and so on. And then, now with our, we also want to start a new medical school and a hospital. And the mandate there is to have, MD, PhD, MD, MTech programs. So very soon we are going to have students, the medical students, coming and sitting in our classes. So one has to have that ability to be able to communicate and share their knowledge to a very wide spectrum of people. And we do expect teaching skills, or expect the candidates to have good teaching skills. And these are also assessed. I must tell you that this is not something, it's just lip service, because finally, when it comes to promotions and tenure, because IISc recruits faculty members on a 5-year tenure track, we do take very seriously the teaching reports. There is an online system for students to fill in the comments and rank or rate the course and the instructor on various parameters. All of these, and this is all done anonymously. So all of that information is collated, and this is then sent to the reviewers for their feedback. So what I mean to say is teaching is, of course, and I mean, is as important a component perhaps as research and other activities as a professor in the institute. And we do value that skill in the candidates that we would like to recruit.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chatterjee, for sharing your.
Can I add one last sentence? I'm sorry, I forgot about it earlier. So in addition to Masters in Clinical Research, which we have started for clinical trials, as well as there is another drug regulatory center, we are also going to start in 2025 an integrated Masters PhD program for our MBBS students. Because not everybody who enrolls for the MBBS program, and there are 1,250 of them in 5 years in our institute, opt for a career in medicine as a practitioner. Many of them want to move to the entrepreneurial space or as a researcher. So by inculcating their interest right at the beginning in first year, so that is something we are working on, the details of it, and we encourage candidates with diverse backgrounds to apply, because today technology enables, actually, in fact, you should be happy that as a service to humanity, which is about 4 billion and counting, internet is already the gift to the mankind from the engineering fraternity. So we expect similar miracles in the medical and healthcare domains as well. And we actively engage you to kind of produce seamless kind of data crunching methods, which provides affordable and accessible healthcare towards that. Thank you. I apologize for interrupting the conversation. Thank you.
No worries, Dr. Janardhanan. It was really great to know the updates from you. Now, we would like to have Dr. Rao's opinion on this question.
Actually, I was looking into the participants. There's equal number of participation from both biologists and as well as engineers. I think this is the right group for the discussion. What we look for is basically a biologist, the willingness to go to the clinicians to understand their problems and blend with their research and contribute for that aspect, as well as engineers coming to the biologists, and of course going to the clinicians to understand their problems and to address their issues. So this kind of that teamwork, that spirit, if they have, actually it will be great. So probably we will be going to assess by looking into their past deliverables, what they have done in terms of all of you are all talking about the quality. So we look for this kind of integrated approach. If somebody is having, probably they will get a edge over others. And as Dr. Raju has already mentioned, if we in Manipal, Mahe, we have already this integrated PhD program for MD clinicians. So this is already ongoing activities. And also teaching, there is an option for the, faculty members. They can choose, actually, if they are good in teaching, okay, the weightage, they can give more weightage to the teaching. And of course, if they are interested in taking up the research, probably they can give more weightage to the research, and maybe a minimum of about 20% weightage to the teaching. So in this way, before the academic year itself, they can actually choose their own as per their interest. So this is something about the question what you have asked. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Rao. Before I hand over the next question to Vaishali, I would like to request participants who have question like to raise their hand, and they can probably ask with their microphone. Okay, Vaishali, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Rohit. I think we have a question which is very interesting because there's a question regarding the age limit for applications for assistant professor positions. Since it is very common nowadays for the people to do 1 or 2 postdocs after the PhD. And I will also add, since the high impact papers, they usually need at least like 3 to 4 years of intense work followed by revisions. So like what would be the best thing when and probably the best age considerations for applications for the assistant professor position? I will open this question for suggestions.
I go ahead. So we generally, it's a general thumb rule. We look for less than 35. I understand in biosciences it will be slightly higher. So we would the entry level we will try to have them close to 40. So 35 is preferable. We might go to up to 40 depending upon the candidate. Because after that we have to also fit in into the Indian system, and they have to be equalized and normalized with the other engineering um, departments, right? So it becomes easy if you do it in a normalized fashion. So thumbs up is for 35. Maybe for very good biodata, we might go up to 40. This is at IIT Kanpur.
Okay, great. I think that was really nice. At least some promising for people who may have some papers going revisions and at the brink of acceptance.
May I add to what Dr. Ramkumar told? I think I agree with this assessment. And what we have also got an interesting thing for some of the senior postdocs is if they end up getting the re-entry fellowships. After their probation period, we facilitate a quicker transition to associate professor. This is a part of SRM's commitment so that, like Dr. Ramkumar and my other esteemed colleagues in this call suggested, reintegrating them into Indian ecosystem and also balancing that thing is very important. Giving them the respect which they deserve based on their academic attainments. If the management of a group or is committed to create independent leaders, then we need to enable and ennoble them. And for that, we at SRM are committed, I mean, especially at Division of Medical Research and other fields also, to make this change and difference happen so that we create new leaders. And for that, age, yes, 35 to 35 is ideal, 40 is the max. It is nice to catch them young so that you can have the time to mentor and make them grow into individual independent professionals capable of achieving the landmark standards and higher laurels. I guess the jury is out, but I think I will subscribe to what Dr. Ramkumar said. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Janardhanan. We would also like to have some thoughts from Dr. Chatterjee and Dr. Rao. But I think like since it is becoming a bit flexible, but yes, it is always good for people to move back at an early stage. But since I think even an upper age of 40, I think would make sense. And there's some very positive suggestions in this question from Dr. Ramkumar and Dr. Janardhan. And I think it will be really useful for some senior postdocs when they look for transitioning back.
Yes, as others pointed out, this is the right window actually, 35 to 40. Yeah, we are also looking for such people. And, during this period, probably they must have got excellent training as well as this is the right time to establish themselves as a researcher. So I think this would be the right window. We also look for the same period.
Yeah, so I don't have much more to add. I think everybody's given the same, I mean, the information that I would have said. But in our department, I would say the typical age group has been in the early 30s, but we've had some very bright candidates also join in their late 20s because maybe they did a short postdoc, but they already were very productive and were able to bring in a very unique skill set and domain that was adding and value and so that and also I would say that many of these deviations from not the rules, but the guidelines are encouraged for underrepresented groups, both in terms of gender and other social categories as per the Government of India norms, because we are a publicly funded institution. There are norms for all these. I would encourage you to check out the advertisement on the IISc website. We are very, open, or I would say we are very positive about trying to be as inclusive. And so more of the deviations from these kind of age restrictions are accommodated if we really need to, include people from underrepresented groups.
Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee. And I would also like to just remind the participants once, like in case they want to ask the questions directly, they can just raise hands and we'll be happy to take the questions directly from the participants. And I would like to next move the next question to Rohit so he can take up the further discussion.
Thank you, Vaishali. I would like to ask the question from Sudip. Is the department recruiting computational biophysicists or computational biochemists as faculty members in near future? So it seems like it's a combination of computations with the sciences. So I would like to have this question to all.
If you want me to say, I'll just keep it brief. I think we are a little bit different from some of the IITs and some of these other institutions in the sense that IISc has always had a very strong biology division. Biochemistry department is also 100 years old, and there are other such departments on campus. And similarly, we have very strong departments in traditional engineering. So as a department, what we try to do is find the right balance in terms of skill sets, because there are biology departments and there are engineering departments. We can't necessarily be duplicating what these departments do. We need to create the right niche or the right identity. So we are looking for good candidates across the full spectrum of bioengineering. But again, a lot of this is subjective assessment, but we want to find people who would bring in the right balance between using engineering and physical principles and addressing biology, but not necessarily duplicating things, not only within the department, but also in other departments of IISc, because that doesn't necessarily help the institute. So, or if they are so good in those areas, they could be absorbed in other departments, because when you submit an application to IISc, there's a portal for that, so please check out the website. You can, for that same application, you can actually select up to 3 departments. So if you feel like you are a fit for more than one department, please feel free to indicate so. And your application automatically gets sort of forwarded to all the 2-3 departments to which you will be applying. So if the bottom line here is, if you are a exceptional candidate, or a very strong candidate, even if you're not a fit in the department you think is your first choice, or you've indicated as your first choice, there will be other places or other departments who would be willing to recruit you and host you. Hope that helps in answering that question.
Yeah.
Yes.
May I?
Sorry, go ahead, Dr. Ramkumar.
Yeah. So I would suggest we should not be so choosy. Come on, you keep applying. If at least in IIT Kanpur, you apply to Gangwal School or you apply to bioscience and bioengineering. Suppose you don't get a better fit in that department, we would like to forward your biodata to other departments where they can try to find a space for you. So I think you should not be so choosy and even start applying. So please go ahead and apply, and we will definitely find a slot. We will definitely accommodate. So it's a marriage happening. So I would suggest, like, we should not keep going on finding out where do you apply, how do you apply. Keep going. That's the best spirit of it. And we will find out a space. We are looking for quality. We are looking for growth. We are looking for organic growth. We are looking for entrepreneurs. We are looking for new, novel, innovative ideas, medicines. So we are looking for people. So please apply. because more and more clarity in this will be very difficult. So I would suggest go ahead, thumbs up, keep going.
Thank you, Dr.
And at
Raji.
IIT Kanpur, we are open. So we are open. Suppose like what Kaushik said, 3 departments you can apply. If you don't know where do you fit in, you fit into chemistry as well as this. You just send your biodata to Gangwal School. We will try to orient towards chemistry, and we have a joint appointment. So we give it between 2 departments. So nothing to worry.
Can I answer, if it's okay
Sure,
with you?
Dr. Janardhan.
Yeah, I think Dr. Rajiv is easy. Janardhan is a bit too. We have had 2 candidates. The computational guy is chemistry, and the Parkinson's guy, who's traditionally a neuroscientist, is using principles of biophysics and biochemistry to answer his rationale for his Parkinson's-based research projects, which is catering to the needs. And he's also having collaboration with, we have made him the point person for a collaboration with Parkinson's Research Alliance of India, which is a nodal institute based out of Hyderabad for India-specific projects, and also at the other end with Professor Ray Chaudhry's group at King's College London. So what I'm trying to tell is, you may have multiple skill sets, like my other esteemed colleagues have mentioned. You apply, and like I would echo Dr. You apply and do not think about specificity. The schools have the verve, thought, and think tanks who will find out the exact spaces where you fit in if your CV is good. Quality is definitely given precedence over quantity, and I think that should be the force majeure which you should push as your candidature. How you bring innovation and enterprise, what's your USP? And that should be the selling point as far as a CV or a candidature is concerned. Not just talking about the immediate future, but also, and one more piece of advice. Many people do this. They try to get a position and use it as a stepping stone for their other academic. I think this needs to be discouraged. Why I'm telling is, we have found out some cases, even from Sairoi, whom we had invested a lot of energies, recruited them only to see them moving to different institutions. I strongly condone such attitudes. They not only defeat the purpose for which they have been hired, and these kind of approaches or these kind of aspirations from candidates' perspective bring disrepute to them as well as the organization which is supporting their this kind of thing. This is totally against the spirit, because every one of us who is sitting on this panel goes through the pain of shortlisting, deciding, going through the process of appointing a candidate, only to see that the candidate has other plans. I'm stating this because in 2.5 years, we did find some candidates who were good. They transitioned only to leave us. So it leaves a sour taste in our mouths as well, because we invest a lot of energies, more than 3 to 4 months of energies, to bring them into our system. And these are the kind of things which we should strongly advise as research administrators, that this is something which does not augur well. I'm speaking on behalf of all my esteemed colleagues, and they would really agree that for whatever reasons, once when you decide with a host institute, whether it's for re-entry fellowships or anything, stick to them at least for 2 years. Give them the time, and also to yourself to reintegrate and then of course you have very solid reasons why you decided to move on. Not everybody manages to find but without even giving the host institute a chance to make the difference, I think that does not augur well for the candidate in the long run, because this hop, skip, jump technology does not help anybody in the process, neither the recruiters nor the employees. So this, as Sairoi and this thing, I would request Dr. Aseem to please put it forward to all the potential employees for any of the institutions which are investing so much amount of energies in recruiting them, to condone this kind of behavior. I'm sorry, I've just taken the liberty of speaking on behalf of all of you, but this is a very important point which needs to be stressed upon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv, for sharing your opinion. Dr. Rao, would you like to have your thoughts on the question?
I in Mahe, actually, we have the practice. If it is an open call, one can directly approach to the HR. So they will look into the CV, and usually we will share this one across all the departments, wherever they may fit, actually. And then, of course, if somebody is interested, certainly they will, approach the candidates. And if it is a specific call, it is always advisable to, contact that specific departments or the researchers. So that will really speed up the process, and it becomes easy to, streamline everything. Yeah. This is how actually we practice. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. I would like to hand over the next question to Vaishali.
Yes. Before I take the next question, I would just like to have a quick announcement. So we have Dr. Janardhanan, who attended today's seminar, but he had a very long flight. So probably we would like request him to please leave the session as per his freedom and as his schedule permits. But in case there are any particular questions the participants want to reach out to SRM directly, they can further write to him or the team at SRM. So Dr. Janardhan, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for sparing time even after having a very long flight. Thank you.
That's okay. I mean, like, I'm fine with that. I think as research administrators, which everybody will agree on a weekend, we are all dedicating time because we believe that instead of criticizing the education system, we all have risen to a certain power. It's time for us to give it back. And by encouraging talent and by encouraging new talent to make the transition, this is our way of reiterating faith in both the research academic ecosystems, which we all need to build and reshape and recreate. And I believe the challenges of humanity, that is the problems in, this is the era of biological problems, the technological advancements which have started from the 15th century, the beginning of Renaissance, need to merge. Instead of competing with each other, we need to join forces and attack those problems, bringing the strengths of all of our individual institutes, because we are the proverbial Davids and the problems are the Goliaths. Unmet clinical needs is the Goliaths. Let us join forces, make this change happen, and then we can say that we have done our two cents to the cause of not only the humanity, but also fostering our humble endeavors in academics and research. I really sincerely thank Sairoi, Dr. Asim, and my esteemed colleagues, Dr. Ramkumar, Dr. Chatterjee, and Dr. Rao, for giving their wonderful, enlightened thoughts. I'll be a mute spectator, but it's been so encouraging that I've forgotten my screen share, although I just landed at 2 a.m. in the morning. But it's been really energizing session, and I look forward to more positive interactions with all of you. Invite all of you to come to SRM if they come and meet us, advise us, counsel us, grow with us, and partner and collaborate with us. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
We appreciate, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And I would like to take the next question. So the next question diverts mainly from the candidate, and it is mainly regarding the research plan. And the question is regarding sharing the thoughts on the importance of research statement or the research plan. If the faculty search committee is expecting any specific research questions, or I think I can also put it in other terms, that are there any key areas of research interests which are of major importance right now from the Indian perspective, like the candidates should be correlating their skill sets and writing their research statements too?
Yeah, maybe I can start. So I think there is, again, if you're absolutely new to this, then, I would suggest go look up some websites there's a lot of information out there on how to begin writing a research statement, a teaching statement. The application process, or I would say the expectation typically at IISc is more or less at par with the best in the world. So if you see what they suggest for writing such statements in top schools in the world, that's pretty much what we expect, because it's not about rankings, but I think our endeavor to develop scientific knowledge and solutions that are at the cutting edge and competitive with the best in the world. So of course we want good candidates who have excellent track record, but we would like to see what their vision is, both in terms of those specific skill sets and things that they've done, how they're going to take it forward. But in any good university, then when you get a faculty candidate, they come and join. You don't want them to do just an extension of what they've been doing as a postdoctoral fellow or a PhD student. In fact, if you did that, you then are essentially competing with your PhD advisor and postdoc advisor. That's not what's expected. The idea is to emerge as an independent investigator, which means you've got a training and got some, good training, some, unique skill set, and we would like you to apply them, of course, to problems which relate to the kind of training you've received, but in sort of new domains or new set of questions. And of course, in this context, we would like you to think of how to apply them to Indian challenges. In particularly for bioengineering, I think Dr. Rajiv and Ram Kumar, everybody, and Dr. Rao, they've quite nicely articulated how engineering and medicine are coming together at all universities. It's also happening in IISc. Of course, the hospital is still under construction. It should be operational, I think, by start of next year, and in another year and a half to 2 years, we are hoping to have the first batch of students, the medical students, come into the medical school. But even until that gets ready, we currently have a lot of interactions with clinicians. We have, for example, a special program with CMC Vellore, one of the top hospitals and medical schools in the country, where their residents, junior fellows and junior faculty members come into our program for a PhD. We have MOUs now with some of the AIMS in the country, where their faculty members and again, junior doctors would basically come in for a joint supervision to get a PhD from IISc. And other than that, of course, there are a lot of other research projects which are being jointly pursued. So my point here is, if you can think of applying some of your knowledge and talent to address many of these Indian problems, that would be really valued. And if you can highlight some of those aspects in your research and teaching statements, that would perhaps help you in positioning yourself as a successful PI in the Indian context.
Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee, for sharing your thoughts. Now, we probably don't have much time, like we have around 10 minutes left. So we would like to address one more question, and that is from Naya. The question is, it was truly enlightening hearing from each of you today. My question is, as we look to the future, how do you all envision the ethical considerations evolving as biomedical engineering continues to advance in India? So this question is open to all. So anybody who is free to ask, free to answer, please go ahead.
Maybe Dr. Rajiv can go ahead. Yeah, please.
Okay.
No, you can go ahead, sir, please.
Thank you. See, when it comes to ethical challenges, what we first always tell all the biomedical engineers, everybody, is there is a thing called systematic reviews, identifying the knowledge gaps. And it is catching fire because instead of narrative reviews, people are all going towards systematic reviews. When you identify the knowledge gaps, you look for what are the overlaps. That's where our Department of Entrepreneurship and Innovation helps the candidates, so that there is no overlap. Ethical issues are definitely there, because when you try to scale up your prototypes from, say, TLR 5 and above to 9 to commercialization, for which we have an active collaboration with Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone. And I sincerely request all of you to look at it, because it's one of the kind of entrepreneurship, which is about 1,500 hectares from syringe to the most complicated instruments in a hospital are all manufactured there, all made in India, make in India. And you should go there, and they clearly tell us where there is value. They can easily integrate. Of course, we do total due diligence in terms of both applying for software copyrights to patenting rights and everything to see that none of these ethical issues or any of the participatory issues are there. What is most important while scaling, and I did not touch upon it earlier in this thing, is many of the so-called people who are moving towards AI in healthcare do not take into account the epidemiological aspects. The performance of the AI-based algorithms or in different wide genetics of human space is a challenge which needs to be conquered. This is where the biomedical engineers need to interact with the public health professionals or epidemiologists and clinicians to get their valuable insights, which add more teeth to their output designs or the prototypes, so that it becomes individualized. It also does not marginalize the ethical considerations, and most importantly, makes the USP of your innovation or intervention absolutely yours without any reproaches later or any kind of infringements. This is, I think, very, very important when we do. People may have, sometimes there are innovations like major corps like Apple or this thing, they just do the groundwork and then any intervention or innovation which comes out. But please give due credit to the original person who may have worked hard to create the platform from based on which you have designed. And then as you give credit to the original person, you're also acknowledging their stellar contributions to your thing, but at the same time, creating your path. I hope this is very clear, because we have faced such problems while we have been sending the prototypes, and we have come to a consensus that these are very critical issues which need to be there. And most importantly, sir or ma'am, who are there on this call, you need to provide low-cost, affordable, accessible solutions which can be delivered to a person who is earning 100 rupees a day. 85% of the Indians population spend on medical expenses out of the pocket, and 5 to 6% of the people go every year below the poverty line due to their inability to pay hospital associated expenses. This is the harsh reality of a healthcare ecosystem which has less than 2% of GDP invested into it, despite being a fundamental right. Let's address those issues. That's why I told you, let's join forces and make things happen rather than competing, because our problems facing humanity are much bigger. I apologize for intruding, but I believe all my other colleagues would agree to this kind of an approach, where synergistically we align forces and fight the problems rather than talking in smaller terms. Thank you.
So I agree with you, sir. I fully agree with you.
Okay, Dr. Rajiv and Dr. Ramkumar, for sharing your thoughts. If nobody has similar thought on this, then we may have to proceed to end of this wonderful session. Is there any other perspective on this question?
No, please go ahead.
Okay. With this, I would like to introduce our fellow volunteer Bhaswati to tell us about the future events of SciROI happening this year, and probably end this webinar.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining. I wholeheartedly thank the speakers on behalf of the SciROI team. And then, of course, I also thank the webinar team. It was wonderfully done, wonderfully arranged. So last but not least, I'll share some important announcements about our upcoming events. So we're holding an online recruitment drive So the interviews will be in June. We have already started working on it. So this is for the participants as well for the institutes. So for our guests, if you'd like to hire through Sairoi, please reach out to us. And for the candidates, please visit our website for further updates. We will soon open the application portal. Just keep an eye out for it. Also, we are having our in-person annual event in September, to be precise, 14th and 15th September. That's a weekend. And it will happen in St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. And we extend our invitation to all our guests. We would love to host you. And if you would like to visit any other university around within a drivable distance, we would also try to arrange that. And with that, I also ask the participants to keep an eye out for the annual event announcement in our website. So with that, I would like to close this session, and I thank everyone for joining us. And we expect to see you all soon in online platform or in our in-person annual event. Thank you all.
Do I leave Bhaswati or do we continue?
Yeah, I think we are done now, unless anyone has any specific concerns that they want to share with the team, with the Sairoi team. I think everyone has the freedom to give.